This is a Kirkendall Barrett presentation.
Hello and welcome to Breaking Down Bad Books, a podcast analysing trashy bestsellers from a literary perspective. Following my breakdown of Stephenie Meyer's Twilight, I'll be digging deep into the raunchy Twilight fanfic turned erotic romance, 50 Shades of Grey. Although I'm not sure romance is the best word to use. Join me every Monday and Friday for chapter-by-chapter analysis of the book that Salman Rushdie said made Twilight look like War and Peace. You can listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, or visit breakingdownbadbooks.com for all the listen links and contact information. I have a feeling that it's going to get awkward, but let's get through this together. Happy reading!
Well, hello everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of the Reality Reading Rainbow. Yes, the Triple R, where I talk about books written by reality stars, especially those from Bravo, and try to make sense of them. I also do interviews. Before we get started, I just want to do a couple of little housekeeping things. First of all, thank you for checking out the podcast, and I love doing it, and I hope you love listening to it. I actually have a Patreon that I have set up. You know, I read a lot of these books. The books cost money, and so I set up a little Patreon so, you know, maybe I could get a little help with that. Now, here's the deal. I understand that times are tough. So if you don't have a couple of bucks to throw at a Patreon, I understand 100%, and I am happy to have you here. But if you do, consider throwing a couple of bucks to Patreon. I've got a bunch of different tiers that range from $3 a month and up. I have some fun things that I would like to do, like the Reality Reading Rainbow Book Club. We had one last month that turned out to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to do it again, and that's for our top tier members. And like I said, if you have a couple of bucks to throw at the Patreon, great. If you can't, I would just rather have you listen because your presence is my present. Also, if you want to check me out, we have a Reality Reading Facebook page. So, you know, go to Facebook and join the Reality Reading Rainbow, and I'm going to get more active with that. And I want to start having more really cool discussions and talk to like-minded readers. Oh, by the way, someone suggested that I call the listeners of this podcast readers. And hey, it sounds good. So you all are officially readers. Oh, one more thing. If you have any book suggestions, you can either make the suggestion on the Reality Reading Rainbow Facebook page, or you can send me an email at therealityreadingrainbow@gmail.com. Some of the best books that I have read so far have been listener suggestions. A lot of people love the House of Hilton episodes. House of Hilton was a listener suggestion. A lot of people love the Danielle Staub book I talked about. That Danielle Staub book was a listener suggestion. So please feel free to send suggestions. I am open to them, and I am happy to read them. And you know what? That's it. So on with the show. Well, hello everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. Another day of a lifetime of Hallmark. I am Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
We take movies from both Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel and try to make sense of them.
We're not very successful, though, because they don't often make sense, but they are fun to watch.
And we go down all kinds of rabbit holes. We talk about Angelian quite a bit. We talk about the show Enos.
June Squibb. We are team June Squibb all the way.
And we have Black China news every single episode.
So with that in mind, why don't you listen to A Lifetime of Hallmark? You can listen wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Thank you for adding to my Semajh Gets Cancelled press tour.
Oh, awesome. No, this is going to be good. This is going to be fun.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of the Reality Reading Rainbow, where I talk about books written by reality stars, primarily those from Bravo, and I try to make sense of them. I also do interviews. And the way that it's working out is I've been doing more interviews lately. Oh, by the way, I am Les Kirkendall Barrett, and I have a special guest today. Now, I have been talking nonstop about my Clubhouse journey because I am loving Clubhouse, and I'm having great conversations. I'm meeting a ton of cool people, and this is a cool person who I met on Clubhouse, and I was like, I've got to have you on my podcast. And so we're just going to shoot the shit and talk. He has a podcast called Me, I Am Cancelled, which I want to get into this title. So welcome, Semajh Bloodson, to the show. Hi.
Hello, Reality Reading Rainbow Nation. What the fuck is up? Ooh, can I curse here? I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, this is a cussing show. Cuss away.
Okay. What the fuck is up, Reality Reading Rainbow Nation? Hi. Hi, Les.
Hey.
Let's fucking go.
So, Me, I Am Cancelled. I'm loving the title. What inspired this title?
So, as we know, this summer, we had a lot of things this past summer 2020. Summer by Bravo, summer by racism, summer by 90-degree days. All in all, I was really fascinated at how, the people who were being canceled, they were really picked and chosen over. It was certain actions, some things were okay, some things were not okay. And all in all, I'm like, wow, this is a lot. This is ridiculous. This is fascinating. I love all of this. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Before I even jump into this conversation, let me cancel myself so that way whatever I say, I can take zero accountability for. So I actually canceled myself first, and I changed my Twitter display name to Me, I Am Cancelled. And then I put in my bio, I've already canceled myself, so you don't have to. And then I decided to engage and move forward and give my 2 cents in these conversations.
Now, what is your feeling about? Because I have an opinion about the whole cancel culture thing. What is your opinion on it?
So while it has served its purpose, I believe some good has come out of it. Like, a lot of things have been brought to light, whether they've been, turn out to be true, not true, good, bad. It started the conversation. And, people, like a Harvey Weinstein, people like, like a Donald Trump, certain people, they really fit the bill of someone who deserves to be, no longer supported or encouraged. But it's also gotten away. Like, people are taking it and I think misusing it and turning it away from what it's supposed to be, which I think is at the root. I believe the people who are looking for that conversation, they want accountability to come out of it. But some people are getting so upset about, the word cancel, the feeling that comes with it. And it's funny because it's the people that that are being canceled that are suddenly rallying against it. It's like, so this is actually not about you. Please don't center yourself in this. But, that's another conversation to have at another point. But I just find it interesting how, cancel culture seemingly started out as like a positive thing, and now it's like a train wreck. So I want to kind of touch on that from time to time, but also like laugh at it because it's so crazy. Like, people are just asking to be accountable. We're not really looking to cancel. You can't cancel a person.
Right. And I agree with you 100% because that is my feeling on it. I've broken this down a few times. When people say cancel culture, I'm like, well, no, actually, it's like this. And I always use this example. I watch your show. I am a Black person that watches your show. My views of your show brings you ratings, which brings you advertising dollars. works, right? So if I find out that you are racist or homophobic, me as a Black gay man has the prerogative whether or not to continue watching your show. And I feel, why should I reward you for your racist or homophobic behavior? So I will take my eyes off of your show, which takes away your advertising dollars. And so I agree when you said accountability culture, that's how I feel too. It's accountability culture.
Absolutely.
You know?
Because people can change, people can grow, especially when they mean it. There's a difference between saying sorry and then sorry mean it. Like, you know, it takes me back to, is this a problem? Problems are things that can be fixed, or is it a pattern? And you actually are this person and you are all these things. When it's a problem, that's when I say, you know what? Give them space, give them grace. Let's see if they're going to change this behavior that they claim they're dedicated to listening and learning about and fixing. But if you're going to just say, oh, my bad, and you do it 5 minutes later, then maybe we have a pattern on our hands. But it's interesting and fun. That's where the fun is, to see, okay, did you really have a bad day, or are you just a bad person?
Right. And the thing is that the thing that I find, because let's face it, you know, I in my past, I've said some things, but I let me qualify this with, I said some things which at the time I didn't know any better. And now that I know better, I'm doing better. So if it's something that someone maybe tweeted as a kid, or something that someone tweeted when they were a teenager, I do think that people can grow up and people can become more informed and then change that way. So I definitely not a believer in, oh my God, he tweeted this 15 years ago and we need to, we need to get rid of him.
Right.
But I think how these people fuck up is, instead of apologizing immediately, they first try to double down.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And yeah, and then also on top of that, if you don't mean it, actually don't apologize. Just let those shits fall where they may. Because I'm actually gonna be more mad at you if you apologize and you had zero meaning or intent behind it. Like, if you know you're not sorry and this is who you are, but like, you know what, this is who I am. Take me or leave me. Sorry about it. Sorry about that. Sorry you feel that way. Like, I hate when they apologize and when they show no signs of improvement, or they continue the same behavior, or like, you can just tell that, like, oh, well, my manager said I need to save this, so let me go ahead and put out this little tweet so you leave me the hell alone. No, actually leave me alone and just keep doing what you're doing. It's fine.
Right. Or like, are you familiar with the whole thing going on with Sharon Osbourne right now?
I am, unfortunately, yeah.
and first of all, I'm kind of bummed out by that one, because I was a fan. I was a total fan of the show.
Who amongst us, right?
Right.
Sharon, get my burrito, Sharon.
Right. And it was funny because my husband is British. And so my husband, he was telling me stories about, he met Kelly Osbourne and, she was really nice to him and stuff. And so now it's like, oh, God damn it, Sharon, damn you. Because what she did is, she doubled down and was like, I was blindsided, I was this, I was that, and didn't take any responsibility at all. So it's like, okay, so you deserve to be
held accountable. There. We don't have to say cancel. Let's be held accountable. But Les, how crazy is that? How literally anybody from Britain, the loyalty, the deep-seated loyalty that literally every British UK citizen has to the Queen and like the royalty, like, how crazy! Like, that shit runs so deep. I can't. And then to see them comment on, the whole Meghan thing, this, all that, it's like, so we must really love the Queen. Like when they say God save the Queen, they mean it.
And it's so funny because I don't know, your social media behavior, but I fight. I was talking to someone, I was interviewing someone the other day, and she was talking about going, 0 to 60. And I'm like, no, I go 0 to 1,000. And so I have had fights with a few white British people that I know about the whole Meghan Markle thing. Because I was like, okay. I was like trying to explain the whole coded behavior,
right?
The whole,
context, subtext,
and then they speak, and this is it. People get so fucking stupid, and it's like, so if you had an argument of, okay, well, she, like, let's say she came from like a really, she was a regular person and not an actress, and she didn't have a lot of money, and so she used him as a come up and all this stuff. So she was a millionaire when she met him.
Exactly.
She was a star. You know, she wasn't like a megastar, but she was famous.
She didn't come to the table with nothing.
Right. She was on a syndicated series, which, if you're on a syndicated series that does well, which I think that show had been around for like 10 years.
You're getting a check, a consistent paycheck.
She never has to work a day again in her life. So she came in there with money. And it's like, so no, she was probably making just as much money, if not more.
Exactly. She was never that regular degular schmegler girl from the Bronx or wherever. Like, you know, she's not Sally from Ohio. Like,
right.
She had something to bring.
And then you try to explain it, and then the glaring example is when you saw that split screen that they did with her and Kate, and they did the exact same things and what the news said. And people, you know, people are showing their asses. I had this one person, the best fight I've had so far is this guy who was like whiter than white, who was like, well, I have a friend who wrote an article about colorism, so I know what I'm talking about.
I love that. Your friend wrote the article. Amazing. Well,
right.
Good for your friend. What did you write? And on that, I have to say, this takes me back to that little gif of Naomi Campbell, the stacking up Kate and Megan. I have my career. Where's yours? Like, right. Megan has a career. Kate has children. And that's great. Right. But when we're stacking apples to apples, Megan clearly stacks up higher. But you know what? She's black. And we always have to do more double, triple to begin with. So I'm not even surprised by that.
And I cussed him out.
Good.
So good, to the point that, you know how you like cuss someone out and then you block them after you cuss them out, and yes. then but if you don't block them in time, somebody can get through before while the block is happening.
You said that on your show. You're like, yes.
I unblocked him. You
messaged someone, you blocked them, replied, and blocked them again.
I unblocked him to cuss him out even more. Because it's just like it's like, you know, it's about just listen. Just like, for example, do you watch The Real World? Did you watch The Real World?
A little bit here and there growing up.
Because you know how they're having that reunion thing.
Oh
now?
yeah, mm-hmm.
And
everybody's recapping it now.
And they were talking, well, because they were having a conversation about race.
Mm-hmm.
And so this woman, Becky, just wouldn't listen. And her whole thing is, I can't be racist because I take a an African dance class. And Kevin was just like saying, no, just listen to us, you know? And so
exactly. And on that, two things can be true. You can also be in a black dance class. You can still be a racist. You can be married to a black person and still be racist. You can sleep with black people, have like, you know, that one black, and you can still be a racist. Two things can be true, people.
Right. And then another argument I had, because someone was like, well, you know, with the Oprah interview, notice how Harry didn't say much. And I'm like, because he's not the black person. It's not his story to tell.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. And also, I think people forget, you know, how you said, like, how you had that one friend who was talking crazy on Facebook. Like, don't be rude to your friends. Like, just because you're my friend doesn't mean I'm gonna let you just talk reckless to me any old way. Like, if you're being disrespectful, I'm like, hey, friend, pump your brakes for a second, because I need you to watch where you're going. I don't know if you want to go here, we can go here, but like, don't talk to me just any old kind of way just because you feel like it. Just it's a Tuesday. Like, friends need to still have respect for each other.
No, he used code and everything, because basically how the fight started, it didn't start out as a fight on my end, because he posted all this stuff and I was like, well, listen, just so you know, this is what you're saying is not right, and this is why it's racist, because A, B, C, D. And as a friend, and I put that as a friend, I
care about you. Care about your dumb ass.
Right. As a friend, I just want you to know that what you're saying isn't right. And he sent me this message back like, how dare you shit on my Facebook page? And you're yelling at me. And I'm like, wait.
Sure am.
Me writing this post, so I'm yelling and I'm screaming. I'm like, and that's when I was just like, okay, you're gonna accuse me of screaming, fucker? Then we'll scream. You know?
Don't sit here and try to tone police me, but I'm trying to actually help you. I'm sorry you don't like my delivery, but actually, like you said, listen and read what I'm saying, because I'm really actually looking out for you. It's crazy. Well, that's what happens, when people go unchecked for years, never called out for anything. Like, this is what happens. They think, you trying to address them is an attack. And what people also don't understand, non-Black people, white people, whatever, like, if we're addressing it, this is not the first time. This is a pattern. Right. We have already built a case. Look, that's why we're coming to you. We're not just gonna, come to you because you said one thing one time. Like, if we're gonna address you, understand this is not the first time we've done this.
Right. Now, okay, so now speaking of race, and I've had several conversations before, but I would love your take on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, what shows do you watch on Bravo?
Okay, so normally I watch everything, literally every single show that that network airs. So much so, last week, because I missed it, I know no one watched it, but I missed it, I went on iTunes and I bought Camp Getaway and Family Karma, because I just love all the shows they put out. Like, I love when they did that little Texarkana, Mexican Dynasties. I loved, back in the day, NYC Prep, Most Eligible Dallas, Platinum Hit. Like, anything Bravo puts out, I'm here for.
Right. And by the way, Family Karma, loved Family Karma.
Yes.
Karma, I was so happy when I found it's coming back for another season.
Season 2.
And I wish they would bring Mexican Dynasties back for another season, because that was so pretty good too.
It really was.
So how do you feel? What are your opinions on how Bravo is handling race?
So it's funny you say this, because up to this point, I was like, you guys are doing this all wrong. You're hiring people of color, trying to make it like a Band-Aid, say, oh, here's your Black person, here's your brown person, whatever. And then, like, you kind of throw them to the wolves with, these other white cast members, and just like kind of like letting the chips fall where they may. And I was mad at them over the summer when they, fired Kristen, Stassi, and all those people. Not that they didn't deserve it, but it's been reported, like widely reported, that they only made a move because they felt they had to when MTV fired their people for the same stuff. So they were like, how can we as a big network, not do anything when that other big network, MTV, is, taking action? So, and that was supported to me when Andy said, back in January, I don't think we should have fired Kristen and Stassi. I feel like they could have stayed on, they could have learned. So for like a long time, I was mad about it. Even, recently, I tried to watch Dallas. I've only seen 5 episodes, because I cannot take Brandy. It just hurts. I'm just deeply triggered. And OC, I watched an episode here, episode there. I'm like, this is not for me. But today I was listening to The Reality Is Pod with Nor RT, and they had on Ben and Ronnie from Watch What Crappens, and they said, one way to look at this as, so are these people awful? Yes. No one's saying these are like, good Samaritans by any stretch of the imagination, but this is probably what these real conversations and real situations look like in your real life. When you are in a room and you're forced to deal with that person who's racist, or the person who says like, oh, you're attacking my faith, or, I'm not this, not that. So as they said, as uncomfortable and as painful as all those things are, watching a Brandy Redmond, watching a Kelly Dodd, you're probably going to have to deal with these people in your life at some point. And this is probably what it's going to look like when they are uneducated and they don't know what they're talking about, and they are, being hurtful and they're not aware. So hearing that perspective made me feel not better, but it like, what's the word? It made me less hardened towards it. So I think maybe now if I see an episode today, if they're doing a marathon, I might be more inclined to give it a chance, or, look at it differently, not be so upset.
Right. And it's so funny that you mentioned Ben and Ronnie, because this podcast originated in one of the Crappens rooms.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's like, I definitely have a fondness for Ben and Ronnie for sure. And for those of you who are listening who don't know what I'm talking about, listen to Watch What Crappens. These guys are hilarious. They are so funny.
I'll have to do that, because that's like my podcast blind spot. That's like the one of like, I know it's like one of the biggest ones, but that's the one I don't listen to. It's not that I don't like them or I don't know them. I just have not listened to it. So that's actually my blind spot.
It's legit. It's legitimately funny. Like legitimately funny.
Okay. Because similarly, I do listen to our good friend Kate Casey, and I listen to Danny Pellegrino. But you can't know Ben without knowing Ben and Ronnie.
Right.
So I just find it funny how like I've been listening to all these podcasts for a year plus, year and a half now, and I still have not made my way over to watch what
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I don't listen to Danny Pellegrino. But, you know, I listen to Kate. Kate has become a friend of mine. And
she's the bomb.
Right? Isn't she, though? She's amazing. And so it's just isn't it kind of funny, though, how like it's getting to the point now where we all either know each other or know someone who knows someone.
Exactly.
But okay, with Bravo. So now did that change your opinion on the Stassi and Kristen firing itself after you've heard that, or what did that do?
No, because I was like just feeling icky about that the whole time, especially being, you know, a diehard Khaleesi for as long as I was.
Really?
Oh,
really?
Yeah, diehard. And you know what? It's funny because I had heard about, you know, all these little instances here and there, but I guess I kind of just said, oh, you know what? I didn't take the time to read it. I didn't investigate it. I'm just gonna, you know, just gonna look over here and, you know, eat my ranch dressing. But you know, last summer when everything came up stacked all at once, I'm like, wow, okay, this all actually happened. And then seeing, you know, the response or lack of, or the type of responses that came from the people in question, I'm like, I actually can't support you anymore. Or if I do it have to be very, very quietly. But no, like I actually saw, I'm like, okay, like this is actually a pattern, and we have several examples as to how this is a pattern. So it was actually a very painful summer. I had to like come to terms with a lot of this. I'm like, no, this is a problem. This is not what I think. Like, it was rough. It was really, really rough.
And I agree with, in the sense of like, you know, when I find out that someone who I liked, especially on Bravo, is a racist, I'm like, oh fuck! Like it's that extra punch in the gut.
Exactly.
Because it's like, I like you, you know.
Why do you have to be this way?
Right. And the thing is, it's, you know, I definitely, you know, with the Stassi and Kristen thing, I definitely think they should have been fired just because, you know, let's face it, calling the cops on a Black woman, which if you're listening and don't know, Stassi and Kristen called the cops on the Black member of the show, Faith, and said that Faith, there was a picture of a woman who robbed this guy who looked nothing like Faith.
Stole a jacket.
Stole a jacket. They called the cops on her and bragged about it on a podcast. And once got out.
And then when the cops did get to Faith and they found out she didn't do anything, that wasn't good enough for them. So then they went ahead and called the military police because they found out Faith was in the military. So they took it a step further just to get the quote unquote justice because they thought it looked like Faith. And then they said, I don't know how true this is, but they said Faith had a history of being a klepto. Either way, like, why don't you just confront her about it? Like, hey, did you steal our friend's jacket? There was never any need for you to get the police involved. And even if it was, wouldn't you, someone with money, just want to buy your friend another jacket and just call it a day and just not talk to Faith? I don't know. That's another option.
And it came back to bite them in the ass. And so the thing is that would get me too is that people defending them on some of these pages, some of these and this is what I don't understand. And I don't know if you're feeling this too. So you watch a channel where the face of a channel is a gay man. The shows for, you know, the highest rated shows are actually the shows. Well, like the highest rated Housewives show is Atlanta, right? So that's the cast with the housewives, the Black housewives. It seems like it seemed to be pretty inclusive for the most part, if that makes any sense.
Right.
How could you like be as like racist and conservative as you are, because this doesn't seem like this is the channel for you?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing goes to show. All these people, everybody loves Black people. We are entertaining, we are talented, we work twice as hard as everyone else in the room for one reason or another, and we sell, we make money. And I think it's also, unfortunately, you know, it's like the spectacle of it all, because these people probably don't have Black people in their lives. Like, oh, so what is this? It's like the shiny new toy. And, you know, like, we're funny, you know, people get all their catchphrases from either us or the LGBT community or the co-op thing up there for. So it's everything they probably love, but probably because it's, you know, on their TV, it's away from them. It's not in their life, it's not in their face. So they're able to just sit back, watch, and enjoy it as they should, because it's entertainable for sure.
Right.
You know, like it's just far away enough, or it's close enough where it's not gonna inconvenience them or, you know, make them want to confront something in a meaningful way, like how we're seeing on, you know, Dallas and, you know, all these other shows, Southern Charm now. So it's like it's at a distance, and then it's comfortable for them to enjoy and to participate.
But yeah, but then again, okay, so I was like nosing around on Facebook like this time last year. Was it around this time? When did they have like the specials? Like Oprah had a special about race, Bravo had a special about race, and they were having all of these specials.
Yeah, I think it was between like July and September, because there was one in the summer and then there was one like in the fall, kind of.
So I was kind of nosing around, and for some reason I ended up on the Oprah page, right? And all these white people on Oprah's page were like, I can't believe that the Oprah Winfrey Network is interviewing my shows to talk about race. And there was a bunch of them, and it was a thread. And I jumped on, I'm like, you know Oprah's black, right?
They forget how soon we all forget, because she probably fits that mold of the black person that they're comfortable with, or the one that they can respect, or the one that they like. And, you know, it's the internet. Everyone is going to give their 2 cents in their opinion regardless. So whether it's based in fact or it's reasonable or whatever the case is, people are going to talk because they can. So I'm not surprised that you said there are threads and threads. And then also Facebook and Facebook groups is where the devil lives. That is hell on earth. A Facebook group for a reality show nonetheless. So that all tracks.
Right. Now, do you watch Summer House?
I love Summer House. I've been a early adopter, season 1, day 1, because I grew up in New York. I love New York. It truly is my home. You know, from birth to age 11, I was in Queens Village, New York, and then 8th grade all the way up until 2018, I lived on Long Island. So I got some bits and pieces. So Summer House was on it for me from day one.
Because okay, so you know, Summer House this past season, they've introduced their first black character.
Yes.
And there are people that are saying that Sierra brings nothing to the table, and I beg to differ, because I'm like, okay, so they have been trying to get new people on this cast for years, and they always tank. All the new people have turned out to be like one-season wonders.
Yep.
And so why this has turned me around with the way that I think about the Summer House cast. Well, I've never disliked the Summer House cast, but after the season, so it looks like, so scenes from next week, they're like around Labor Day, which means that they probably have like 1 or 2 episodes left.
Nice
right?
and short. We get in, we get out, we go home.
So, but the reason why it's changing how I feel about this cast in a good way, so Sierra's in this cast. So far, I'm crossing my fingers. We have not had one microaggression.
Nope.
We have had no talks about race. She hasn't had to school anyone. And it seems like she fits right in. She's getting along with everybody and they like her.
Yeah, I mean, that scene with her and Danielle on the beach was great too, because it was her, the other woman of color, and then, you know, Paige and Hannah and Amanda kind of, you know, just listening and respectfully adding in, which shows it can be done. People can talk about their own experiences and you don't have to be an asshole about it.
And I know that there was the one scene where one of them, who was it, Kyle, I think, or one of them asked her if her boobs was real. And I was like, okay, I would rather them ask her that than can I touch your hair?
Exactly. And funny thing about Kyle, so during our, you know, summer of racism by Bravo, I will have to say the Loverboy team, they really stepped up and like, you know, did some stuff. So they put out, you know, those cocktails on a can, and like the first round of proceeds, like all the sales, they sent it first to the Bartenders Guild Association to get all the restaurant workers some relief from COVID. Like they sent all the money there. And then with their second launch of the drink, they took all the money and they sent it to the Loveland Foundation and Black Lives Matter. And then
I didn't know this.
And then in the summertime, when they had like a limit run of Pride t-shirts, they sent it to the what is it called? Like the For Change, the We Are For Change website and human rights campaign. So they've been like actively involved in like, these calls to action. They've stepped up, they've donated proceeds, they posted a lot, all of them on like their individual pages. Like Amanda posted a lot, Kyle posted a lot, and I talked to Kyle like directly, and I'm like, so I'm just curious, like, where does all this like play in for you? And he said, well, he's like, my mom and dad always raised me to treat everyone respectfully and to like, not to be racist, not to be an asshole. So it goes to show, it really does start at home, and it goes to show you can be a decent person and not be racist and homophobic and xenophobic and like all the other isms.
Oh, see, now I like them even more.
Yeah, no, they're real. Like they are real, authentic New Yorkers. They really bring that melting pot energy.
Well, because I think honestly, Summer House is what Vanderpump Rules wished it could be. Because okay, so there, there's all these people. They're working people. They're in their 30s.
Yes,
they still party like they're in their 20s. They still get drunk. They still
get in the mess.
But as bitchy as they are to each other, they still come across as likable to the viewing audience.
Very much so, because they're real. They're relatable. They're actually actively working, not in a restaurant for show.
Right. And so with Vanderpump Rules, it's like, okay, so they're working in this restaurant, which they're now pushing 40 and they're still working in this job and acting like they're 20.
Right.
They're pretending to work there. It seems like outside of making money from the show, which I'm an actor as well, I do not shit on someone making money from doing your, performing at all. But at the same time, that's all they make their money from, and they don't do anything interesting.
No, like the show is definitely like lost like its steam and its pizzazz, but somehow still feels very real and very attainable. Because me being a New Yorker, like how many times have you been invited to a shore house? How many friends that work in this city and then they go out to the Hamptons for the weekend? So like it's very real and like it's very relatable in that way.
And so it's like, I don't want to see Jax and Brittany sit around the house.
No,
doing nothing. It's like they're just not interesting enough. Well, I guess they're gone anyway.
And we see that for free on their Instagram anyway. So like, no, right. I don't want to give you dollars for that.
Right. But they're the Vanderpump Rules. It's like their lives on their own aren't interesting. I think the Toms are interesting because they're running. Right. I mean, I don't know, like, because I live in LA, and so cool. I live close, like my husband and I, our first date was at Pum. It was like, so I go to all of those places. I don't know if Tom Tom is gonna open.
I mean, at this point, whose business is actually real? Who actually has a real business? That's what I want to know.
Sir is open. Sir is open. Pump just opened a couple of weeks ago, but Tom Tom still isn't open.
Well, I guess we'll have to watch what happens, unfortunately. But I'm over that.
And the thing is, those are the two. Well, and I think Sandoval more than Schwartz, but those are the ones. At least they have something going on, which would be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in their storylines. I heard they were supposed to be in Winter House, but I heard they didn't want to leave their spouses at home, or maybe it's because they were given a nice holding fee from Vanderpump Rules, and maybe they didn't want to get mixed up with that. Who knows? But,
wait, they were invited to Winter House without their spouses?
Yes. That's what I've heard, allegedly. But I also heard, that everyone on BPR is coming back. They all have been given holding fees. So maybe there was like a conflict there, and maybe not wanting to leave their partners. So I don't know what they would have done realistically in that house. But like you said, Vanderpump Rules, it's eating itself, and it has to do like a full revamp because everyone is too aware, viewer and performer, that this is a show.
Do you think it's salvageable? Do you think they can save it?
I prefer they didn't because I think they ended it last season in a series finale kind of way. So let it just end. Like, no need to beat a dead horse. I mean, can they save it? Sure, but they'd have to really sit there and really revamp this entire program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're wearing a tree. You're wearing a tree hugger shirt. So
yes,
let's talk. Let's talk New Jersey. What do you think about this season?
I love it. So shoot me, sue me, whatever you got to do. I've never had a bad season for New Jersey. I've loved every single season. Honestly, I have truly loved every single season.
Even the season with the twins?
That's honestly one of the best ones. It's underrated. If you go back, and watch season 6, especially now as we're all adults, because I know a lot of us were like, in high school or younger or young adults. Go back now as an adult, as a full-fledged, fully formed adult. Watch season 6. You will be pleasantly surprised.
Okay, let's break this down. I was an adult. I was an adult during your.
Well, you were a busy adult. You weren't home in Parmigiana.
Right.
So different.
So let's break this down. What are we missing? What were we missing that we need to go back and look out for?
So what you're missing is 2 things. One, you are missing the fact that while Teresa was getting ready to go away to camp, we were missing that Melissa was really cementing herself in the show, because a lot of that drama was like a root out of Melissa. Who was Amber's friend? Melissa. Who did the twins kind of know around the way? Amber. Who knows Melissa? And then like we get Dina Manzo back, who's like on like her high horse that season, and so like we get their little conflict, and it's like all these other things going around while Teresa is literally like about to go to jail. So I think when you go back and look at all the nuance and you appreciate them as individual characters, you see how good of a season it was. Again, like Amber, horrible person, great housewife. The twins, they're characters, they're cartoon characters, and who doesn't love that? And then Victoria Gotti, we get a freaking Victoria Gotti cameo. Come on,
that's right, Victoria. I forgot that Victoria Gotti did show up.
We get physical.
Right,
that one friend who hosts the finale party, she hosted in her house. I forget the lady's name, but she's the one with the Dalmatians. Her foyer was so big, she hosted a 200-person Real Housewives finale party. Season 6 gives you a lot, and I think if you go back and watch it now, you'll be surprised at what you see now.
What are you thinking about this season? So are you liking this season?
I am. Now, I am a tree hugger, so that means I am not a fan of Jaqueline, naturally by proxy. But I will say she's had a couple funny lines. Obviously, the jail line, where'd you learn that confidence in jail? That red berry Aviva versus, Heather. Oh, where'd you learn that in prison? So,
right.
I enjoyed that moment from her. And as much as Melissa gorgeous girl, bores me to death, no one pushes Teresa's buttons the way Melissa can. So I love that she's always there, ready to launch an attack. And I love Dolores because as people like to say, oh, she's boring, she's quiet, she's got that weird relationship. First things first, Dolores will beat your ass, okay? She was a correction officer. She's from Patterson. And the reason why she won't get back together with Frank is because he made her come out of her character. And she said one time on a podcast, maybe a couple years ago, that she found out who the girlfriend was. So she's pregnant with Frankie. And so she calls up her cousin. She's like, I found the girl. They pull up on this girl and they beat her ass. But after they beat the girl's ass, she's
pregnant. Like, wait, pregnant? She beat a girl's ass? Pregnant
beat the girl's ass. So after she came back to her senses, she's like, wait, this man really made me come back to my character. This man who I'm down for, who I'm, home pregnant for while he's out cheating on me. I'm holding it down. And he's got me out here beating this girl's ass. So once she realized that, she's like, I can't go back to him. But Dolores, she will fuck you up. She showed it in season 8, showed it in season 7, with the whole, with the fights with Danielle and Vermont. I've had enough of it all. Like, she shows you that she can go there. Even in that restaurant with Teresa, why don't you stick up for me? She's like, I do stick up for you. When is it enough? Then she went for Melissa in season 8. Like, Dolores can put in the work. She can do it.
See, and New Jersey's the one for me. Like, I'm kind of torn because I believe that Melissa brings nothing to the table, but I like her. I like her, and I like her on the show.
She's pretty. She's gorgeous. Melissa gorgeous.
Right. Dolores is another one. I don't think she brings anything, but I like her, and I want her on the show.
Okay.
And I like Dolores on the show. I like Dolores, and also I like Frank. And I think Frank is very entertaining.
Yes.
And so if we get rid of Dolores, we're getting rid of Frank.
We can't do that because we have to know why everybody lives in David's house except for Dolores. Frank lives there. The son lives there. I mean, the mom probably drops by. I mean, Teresa probably spent the weekend there. Everybody and their mother lives there but her. And I just love that dynamic. So technically, if you think about it, Dolores has two men when half of us can't even get the one. So Dolores is doing everything right.
and also, I know that there's a faction out there that's saying that it's Teresa's time to go. I honestly think they will never get rid of Teresa.
Because what do you have left? I'm sorry, the rest of those girls, and I love them to death, they cannot carry a show. I think max 1, maybe 2 seasons by themselves as is, they can give us something, but no, like Teresa, she's too much of a star player.
Oh, no. Remember, though, when Teresa went to, and I'm doing quotes, camp.
Went to camp, yes.
They held the show for her.
Exactly. What show starts production just because someone goes away? And not only that, they gave us a spin-off special. Teresa checks in. Who else is getting that? Come on.
Right. And it's like, was she there for 18 months, like a year,
11 months?
Okay. So they held the show for 11 months until she got out.
Mm-hmm. So first day, she's right there, hit the ground running, back, ready to work, ready to film. She saw the camera guys before she saw her own family. So she's dedicated to this show. Even though she might not like it, and people say she hates it, or people have said she hates the show, she's gonna do the job. She's gonna show up and she's gonna do the work. And you have to admire that. You have to admire a hard worker, no?
Right. So what if you could change anything about the network? What would you like if Semajh became the face of the network? Like if you became the Andy Cohen with a little more power, because he only has so much power, what would you do to our shows?
So he claims, because it seems like anyone he really doesn't like, they somehow find their way not returning. And he'll say, "Oh, guys, I don't make decisions, I don't cast," but he'll always have an opinion about it. So I don't know how much he really does and does not do over there. But to answer your question, if I were in charge, I would literally make an announcement. So for the next year, we are going on hiatus, and I would have every production team sit down with their cast members, sit down with the producers, and watch back everything they've had up until this date, and really sit there and look at it. Here's what you did good. Here's what works here. I'd bring in a focus group of fans, like, guys, so tell us, what do you actually like? And I bring in people who just watch the show, people who watch the show and watch on social media. I would really get everybody's opinion as raw as I possibly can get, and then I'd revamp and retool. I'd change production. If the cast, if the producers are all white, I'd go and diversify, or if they're all clearly biased towards one cast member or another, I'd get rid of those people. I would do a full sweep and really come back and get back to the basics of that raw footage, people who we don't know that we should know. And I would just really, set some standards, set some ground rules, and try to get back to those people who those people who should not be on TV, because those are the ones that make it work.
So like Beverly Hills, for example. What would you do to Beverly Hills?
Okay, so I think I would completely clean house, because Beverly Hills has become the actress show. Everyone there is playing some type of role or an angle, which for a while I liked. I'm like, ooh, so I'm like, this is the show that would actually be a show. This is the show within a show, because they're all actors, they're all playing us. It's the land of smoke and mirrors. I liked that for a while, but now I'm just annoyed. So I would scrap, go back, and try and really dig and find that old money. I want, because if we're gonna do a Hollywood, give me old Hollywood.
Would you keep Kathy Hilton? Well, we don't know what she's like yet.
We don't know
what she's like yet.
So no, but I'm talking. I want Susan Lucci. I want Suzanne Summers. I want
Suzanne Summers. I would love that.
Right. I want Barbara Walters if we can get her. Brooke Shields. I mean, Tori Spelling wants to do it, so please give me Tori Spelling. I want these really, really deep cuts in these older generations.
Okay. I am with you on Suzanne Summers.
Right.
Brooke Shields.
Right.
Tori Spelling. Okay, that alone would be like
Come on.
worth the watch. Would you keep Garcelle?
Yes, because she's been around for a while, and she's black. And then you
Right.
remember that episode that we had when she was with her girlfriends? Get some of those girls on.
Oh, see that episode when they showed her girlfriends, I was like, they need to give her a spinoff and with her friends.
Or running back to VH1. I'm fine. I don't mind hopping networks. That's okay. I can go back to VH1.
Or even because wasn't one of them Will Smith's
Sheree,
ex-wife?
mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. I think that she should even be a housewife now. Like
they had a show on VH1. It was like Hollywood Exes. It was her, Jose Canseco's ex-wife, and like a whole bunch of other girls. And it was like a similar kind of setup. It worked in my eyes. It only got one season, but
But Suzanne Summers and Brooke Shields, I'd be all over that. Okay, what would you do to Dallas?
I would scrap and either rebuild around Cameron or rebuild around Tiffany. I would keep Deandra, Tiffany, and Cameron. I don't even like Deandra, but I know Deandra can, play the game the way it needs to be played. So I would kind of rebuild around them. I'd bring back Carrie Duber, and I would also then, expand out, because I'm hearing, from the real people of Dallas that there actually is a large Asian community. Tiffany's not the only one. There's a lot of, Hispanic, Latinx population. So, get some of them. Right. I want the cities to really reflect what they're like. I feel like Salt Lake did a good job of that. They got a mix of all kinds of people. So I want these cities to reflect the cities. Crazy how it's now year 13 and we're just getting our first person of color on Roni. That's crazy.
Right. Well, and like for Real Housewives of Dallas, for example, like my mom is from Texas.
Okay.
And so, but I'm like, okay, you're based in Texas and you only have one Latin person. And it's like, come on,
no way.
It's Texas.
No way.
It's Texas.
Tejas. Literally, like the name is taken from like the Spanish speaking language. Like you literally can't tell you have one. No,
right?
It's just not realistic.
So yeah, I agree. And there are a lot of I think that it should be Dallas. There are a lot of black people in Texas, in Dallas as well.
Right.
Like wealthy,
Beyonce,
a lot
Megan.
of wealthy black people in Texas too. So
I want it to reflect. Yeah, that's all. I just really want these places to reflect. I understand also the caveat of okay, but are these people really friends? So these shows work because these people, some of them are actually friends and we're seeing real friendships. But I really want these places to reflect what they look like.
Stephanie needs to go.
Yes.
Brandy needs to go for
Backwoods
sure.
Brandy, goodbye.
Okay, what would you do to the OC?
OC. That's one of those things where we got to go back to basics. So bring back Vicky, bring back Tamara, bring back Heather, maybe even bring back Alexis or Gretchen.
Alexis.
Yes. As crazy as that girl is, great TV. Honestly, I bring it back to what was Vicky, Alexis, Gretchen, Tamara, Heather, and I think Lydia was there too at that point. I think that was like one of.
Okay, no. See, this is where you got to draw the line. Lydia, no.
Lydia, listen, Pastor McLaughlin. We do Bible study on Instagram Live every Wednesday night. Okay.
Are you serious?
Yes. Lydia does Bible study. Lydia does Bible study on Instagram Live every week. Okay, this week we were in Corinthians, we were in Galatians, we were in Matthew. She'll give a testimony. She'll do outreach into the comments, and we are actually sitting there on Instagram Live reading the Bible with Lydia.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I can't. Okay, I've got to do a dive in on this. Okay.
Yes.
So Instagram Live.
Yes.
You go on Instagram Live once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Lydia gives a Bible study.
Yes. Sometimes she'll bring people up to talk. She'll add you to live and you can talk about the verse, your thoughts, give your own testimony.
On Instagram.
Yes, on Instagram.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry, my mind is blown right now. My mind is blown. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. How did you find out about this?
So me having, the curse of having a problematic fave, I love the people I know I'm not supposed to love. I've always loved Lydia. I always followed her. Like from her first time on the show, I'm like, this girl's great. Love her. So I had always been following her. But one day I just saw, notification, Lydia McLaughlin going live, and she was just reading the Bible. And she's like, guys, let's talk about this verse. I'm like, wow, this girl's doing Bible study. I mean,
does she then give like a does she give like testimony as well after?
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what you think when you think of Bible study. And of course, you know, because it's the internet, you have the trolls come in saying all kinds of just ridiculous stuff.
Wait, you guys get like Zoom bombed and trolled?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes she'll address the comments, sometimes she won't, but you you really get all sides of it.
I wish you guys could see my face.
We have a good time in the Lord every Wednesday night at 8:30.
I am gagged right now. How many people are normally there?
So it can be as little as 30, 40, 50, or it can be in the hundreds.
30, 40, 50 is not bad.
No, not at all. That's for a Wednesday night. Yeah, no, it isn't. Or it can be in the hundreds. It really depends on the day.
I am gagged right now. Oh my God.
Bible study with Pastor McLaughlin.
Now, is she a reverend or pastor?
No, I'm just being facetious.
No, but still. No, well, I mean, it doesn't sound like a reach.
Well, the Bible says to go out into the field and gather the sheep and herd the people. So I guess this is her way of going out into the field and gathering the sheep and herding the people.
I'm even gonna. I think the title of this podcast is gonna be "My Mind Has Been Blown." Because I think this is one I'm going to be processing this one for the rest of the day.
So every time I send the link to people, they're like, what is this? All right. First of all, wait, why are you sending me Lydia? What is happening? Please explain yourself. I'm like, listen, first of all, that's Pastor McLaughlin to you. And we are doing Bible study. And whatever verse of all, I'm like, please turn to John chapter 12, verse 9. I'm like, please turn to Matthew 1, 9, chapter 12.
My mind is blown. My mind is blown.
It's honestly a hidden gem of quarantine. Bible study with Lydia McLaughlin.
Wow. Like the title of this episode is "My Mind is Blown." Does her mom ever show up with glitter and stuff?
So from the ones I've seen, we have not seen OC Judy, but I'm sure in the future anything can happen, right? Miracles can occur.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay. Well, listeners, tune in, to get your Bible on. Tune in. Wednesdays
8:30.
So you're in New York, right?
So I'm currently in Maryland, 20 minutes outside of DC.
Oh, where in Maryland? My sister.
College Park.
Oh, I went to University of Maryland.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you
many, probably before you were born.
Did you run into Kathy Wakili's daughter while she was
there? She probably wasn't even born yet.
Okay.
When I was there, Richie and Kathy probably weren't even married yet. When I'm older than I look.
Okay, so
like I said,
right.
What year were you born?
95. So
I was out of college for a long time.
Oh, so you were born in 93. Okay, so you're 27. I'm 25. You're 27. Makes sense. I get that.
I was there in the 80s.
Lies. Allegedly, guys, Les is being modest and silly, and he's making jokes. Les is only 2 years older than me. Okay, Les was born in 93, and I'm born in 95.
But my sister lives in Bethesda.
Oh, okay. So that's where Giselle lives.
Right. And so I go to Maryland a lot.
Real Housewives of the greater Maryland area is what it should be more aptly titled.
So, okay. So now what, and there's someone else. Have you ever listened to when I've had Andrew from Andrew's Lifestyle on?
I have not. So actually, I've only been listening to your book reviews. I just finished your Ramona series, and now I'm going back. I'm looking for your Bethany book reviews, and maybe if you have the one Jill Zarin book review. I'm currently working through your books. I've not gotten to your interviews yet.
Listen to listen to the House of Hill.
Okay.
And that's really if I could say so myself, that one gets really juicy because it ended up that I was actually friends with someone in the book who I didn't know.
You said that in Clubhouse, which is where we met. Can we detour to Clubhouse really quick?
Absolutely. So, yeah.
I met you on Clubhouse, and first thing I have to say about that, for people who don't know, first things first, Clubhouse is for iPhone users only. So Android users, turn off your phones now. It's okay. Just pause this little Google podcast and go ask someone to borrow the iPhone and go look at Clubhouse. But when you come back, Clubhouse is basically speakerphone. It's like all these people in a room that maybe you know or you don't know, and you're all just talking. There's no video, there's no comments, so it's really just live. It's just you speaking. And I say that to say, what first drew me to Les is his voice. I love his voice. So Clubhouse is really a great place, I think, for podcasters to find new guests because, it's all about the voice. How do you sound? Can you talk? Can you hold the conversation? And when I heard Les, I'm like, this guy's great. So I was immediately like intrigued in whatever he was doing.
Oh, thank you. What I'm enjoying about Clubhouse so far is that you not only have really good conversations, people are very respectful to each other for the most part.
Right, mostly.
I did hear a fight. I was listening to a fight today.
Really?
But
do tell.
Yeah. Okay, so Clubhouse has become, how it's become monetized this past week, and some people got the monetization and some people didn't, which they're beta testing it. So of course, that's the whole point of beta testing it, is you only give it to certain people.
Right.
Well, there was this one room where people are fighting now about how they're gonna monetize it and what people should do and what people shouldn't do. And it's like, you don't even have the monetization yet. What are you fighting about?
Exactly. And honestly, the audio is not that good. I mean, people will have a whole conversation if you cut out and you miss it. So
Right.
if I pull up to your room paying, $20 to be in the room, and your mic cuts out for even like 10 seconds, I'm already emailing support for a refund.
Right. And the thing is, it's like, because I know that you can monetize YouTube stuff as well, but YouTube, you're actually watching
right
YouTube people, you're being entertained.
Exactly. And it was probably, recorded, edited, so you're getting exactly what you're paying for. There's no chance there.
Clubhouse, and I could see, hey, if you want to throw me some money, like a Patreon, but
or like the rest of us, slum it and just put, your cash app in the bio. We'll find it if we want it.
Right. But yeah, I'm wondering. But so they were having like this knockdown, drag out fight.
Really?
And I was like listening, and it was like pretty good. Well, and I think part of the reason why maybe Clubhouse is like so respectful right now is you can kick someone off your stage.
Yes, moderators have all the power.
Right.
I love
so
that.
you can silence someone and kick them off your stage. So I'm not gonna lie, we met in a Bravo room, and when I first went to the Bravo room, I was kind of like not sure because Facebook pages can get crazy.
Yep.
And I was like, oh wow, everybody's nice.
And isn't that crazy how we are surprised that people are being nice?
Right?
Where have we gone as a society that niceness is a shock?
Because I was like, wow, everybody's nice. Everybody's respecting each other and letting each other talk.
Taking their turns.
Right? So and I definitely owe you an apology because we were originally supposed to talk about the Shep book, and then my life turned into a real life reality show, which I'm not even gonna get into, but it's trust me, I have a good excuse. you know the excuse.
I do.
And it's legit.
Yeah.
But I want to have you back in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I'm available just as long as it's not Monday through Friday from 7 to 3 because I have to work. I know how. Okay. Literally, so Monday through Friday, anytime after 3:30, I'm free. And the weekends, I'm an open book.
So okay, so we're going to talk about the Shep book.
Yes.
And so, what are your thoughts?
So when I first saw and heard that Shepard was writing a book, I was immediately intrigued because I have been a long time casual on and off viewer of Southern Charm. But whenever I watch, I was always captivated by Shep. I'm like, this is like the most important person on this show. I was never really into, anything else except for that one little girl power moment we have. I'm like, Shep is a very interesting man. He seems smart, yet dumb, goofy. He can be serious. I always love how he ragged on Austin and Craig, like just got in their faces, had like real fights with them. Like he wasn't afraid to, get a little messy. And then he was like, just having fun, drinking, rolling around town, sleeping with women, just having the best of time. So when I heard he's writing a book, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe it's time I pick up a book and read again. And maybe it's this one. And I did. And then, for some value added, because where are we? We're all home. There's no concerts, there's no live shows, there's no book signings, there's no book tours. So when I saw he posted that he was doing a virtual tour, I'm like, well, I guess where I'm going. And I went to literally all 3 of his dates. And actually
How was that? How was the virtual tour?
It was really fun. So the first night was with Whitney, his producer and cast member. And I got to ask Whitney, I'm like, where is Southern Charm New Orleans? Whitney says the show is not canceled. It's just, pause. And they're kind of waiting to see what to do with it. And then when it's safe for them to film, to put the cameras back up. So I do believe it's coming back. But I don't know.
They need to bring that back. They need to bring that show back.
So Whitney, if you're listening to this, Whitney, please, do not take your foot off the gas. We all want this back. It's a show we've been asking for. It's diverse. They talk about real life issues. They're actually real friends. Southern Charm New Orleans, go watch that. But yeah, so the first night was with Whitney. Second night was just with the bookshop, and that is where I got to shoot my shot. So night 2, we got a meet and greet, which is you're in a room with him for I think 15 seconds. You get to take a picture, ask a question, whatever. So I shot my shot. I'm like, Shep, I was on your room last night. I'm here tonight. I'm going to be here tomorrow. Can you come on my podcast? And he did. So Shep is actually the first.
Shep came on your podcast?
Shep is actually the first unofficial episode of my podcast, which is out now. I'm sure Les will put that link in
Absolutely.
in the description for y'all. And Shep was so nice. I actually saw him again last night with Cameron. And then I put in the comments, I'm like, Shep, it's night 3. He's like, oh my God, that guy's the sweetest guy ever. He bought 3 books. I'm going to do his podcast. Yeah. So Shep is actually a really cool guy from what I see. And what you see.
Well, and it's so funny because speaking of Clubhouse, Shep, another thing I love about Clubhouse is people just show up.
Yes,
so
you never know who.
Because one day Tiffany Moon just showed up, Margaret showed up one day, and you get to talk to them. And so one day in Clubhouse, Shep and Austin just showed up, and so I got to ask Shep a couple of questions, and yeah, he seemed really down to earth about the whole thing.
Yeah, Shep is who Shep is, and I love that.
So it's good. It's good to hear that he's nice. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I will totally put a link to that for sure.
Please do.
and so in a couple of weeks, I definitely want to have you back because now that my real life stuff is kind of evening out, I can sit down and read a book again, which I'm actually I'm ready to read a book and relax.
It's a good book. I think you'll really like it. You're going to laugh a lot. You're going to learn about his childhood. You're going to learn about his travels. And you're going to see actually just how much of a writer he is. Shep can tell a story on camera and off camera. And not everyone can do that.
Yeah, Kate Casey loves, she was raving about the book.
It's a good book. Shep actually did a really good job. And I hope he continues to write.
Okay, so how can my listeners find you?
Absolutely. So first they need to give this podcast 5 stars, rate and review, subscribe to Les's Patreon. If there's not one that's coming soon, he's going to do it. And then after you've done that, then you can find little old me. You can find me on Twitter at Semajh XCX. I'm not going to spell it. Les will spell it for you. You can find me on Instagram at Semajh with an H for my main account. And then the podcast account is Semajh Gets Cancelled. Again, Les will spell it for you. Don't ask me. I cannot spell. And we can just have fun and continue this conversation. I know I had fun today. This is a great show. Les, thank you so much for having me on.
And thank you. And like I said, you'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we are gonna do a deep dive into Shep's book, which now after hearing this, and I got it on audio too. So
ooh, smart man.
I got it on audio. It's not that long. It's like 5 hours long.
It's such a short book. Like, audience, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like less than 300 pages. So
okay, so like literally, I'm gonna like just take an afternoon and just like throw it on and gun it out, and so yeah, we'll definitely have you back. And until next time, everybody else, keep reading.